All right, let's talk about something almost everyone in the gym is chasing: bigger arms. If you've been hitting those curls like crazy but just aren't seeing the growth you want, well, you're probably making one super common mistake. And today, we're going to uncover the simple secret to unlocking some serious arm size. You know, the desire for impressive, well-defined arms, it's pretty much a universal thing in the fitness world, right? It's like a badge of honor that shows your hard work is paying off. But what if the way most of us are going about it is kind of backward? Let's just be real for a second. This is the goal. We're talking about arms that don't just look strong, they are strong. And that's why you see so many workouts packed with, like, endless sets of bicep curls. But what if all those curls, all that effort, is actually targeting the wrong muscle for pure, raw size? When you think big arms, your mind almost certainly jumps straight to the biceps. I mean, it's the classic flex in the mirror muscle, right? It's right there, front and center. And it's where most people pour all their energy, thinking it's the absolute key to getting bigger arms. Okay, and this right here is the game changer. Focusing only on your biceps is probably the single biggest mistake you can make if you're chasing size. The real key, the secret to adding serious mass to your upper arm, well, it's been hiding on the back of your arm this whole time. So on the left, you've got the popular kid, the biceps. Everyone pays attention to him. But over on the right, that's the real powerhouse for arm size, the triceps. Yeah, that big muscle on the back of your arm. 2/3, just look at that fraction. This single piece of info is probably the most important thing you need to know for building bigger arms. So what on earth does it mean? Well, here it is, crystal clear. Your triceps literally make up the vast majority of your upper arm's mass. Think about that. If you want bigger arms, but you're skipping or rushing your triceps workout, you're taking the slowest, most frustrating path possible. So, let's totally redefine our focus here. The triceps? They are not an accessory muscle. They are the main event. They are the foundation of what makes an arm look big and powerful. But to train them right, you gotta know what you're actually working with. To really, and I mean really, maximize growth, you need to understand the anatomy a little bit. The name triceps actually gives you a massive clue. See the tri? It's not one single muscle. It's a group of 3 different parts, or heads. And here they are. You've got the long head, the lateral head, and the medial head. The long head is the biggest chunk of the muscle. The lateral head is what gives you that awesome horseshoe shape on the side, and the medial head is tucked underneath. So to get that full 3D look, your workout has gotta hit all 3. So what does this all mean for you the next time you walk into the gym? It means a shift. A shift in your perspective, a shift in your priorities. It's about finally understanding where the real potential for growth is hiding. So let's boil it all down to the most crucial point. Think of your biceps as the peak of a mountain. It looks cool for sure, but your triceps, they're the entire mountain. They provide the mass, the substance. Treating them like an afterthought is the #1 reason people get stuck and their arms stay the same size. And really, that's the big secret. The next time you have an arm day, this one piece of knowledge should change everything. The question isn't just how you're going to train, it's what you're going to train first. And now you know the answer.
All right, are you sick and tired of those super complicated arm workouts that just don't seem to work? Well, if you're looking for a straight-up, no-fluff plan for bigger, stronger triceps, you're in the right place. We're about to break down a simple but seriously powerful protocol designed for one thing and one thing only: growth. Yeah, we're just going to cut right through all the noise. This whole protocol is built on just 2 super effective movements. You can forget about doing a million different exercises. This is all about targeted focus and real intensity. All right, first up, we've got the foundation of this whole thing: the press. This is our heavy hitter, the move that's going to build that raw strength and size. And we are, of course, talking about the close grip bench press. So let's break down the numbers here. We're going to be doing 3 sets, and we're aiming for that 10 to 12 rep range. Now, why that range? Because that is the sweet spot for putting a heavy load on the muscle, which is the #1 driver for growth. It lets you go heavy enough to really force those triceps to get bigger and stronger. But listen, form is everything here. You've got to keep those elbows tucked in. No excuses. That keeps all the tension right on your triceps. You want to control that bar on the way down, really feel the muscle working, and then explode up with power. Okay, so we've built our foundation with that heavy press. Now what? Well, now it's time to move on to our second exercise. This is where we really isolate and start to sculpt the muscle with an extension movement. In that second move is the overhead dumbbell extension. You'll notice right away the rep range is a little different here. It jumps up to 12 to 15 reps for 3 sets. With this one, we're not just focused on the heavy weight, we're chasing that deep muscle burn and pump. And that's another huge trigger for muscle growth. So why this one? What makes it so special? Well, here's the secret sauce. Doing this exercise overhead puts a really unique stretch on the long head of your triceps. And, that's the biggest part of your tricep, the one that gives your arm that real size and thickness. Getting a deep stretch on a muscle while it's under load, that is a massive signal for it to grow. Okay, so we've got our 2 moves. Simple, right? But hold on, because there is one single pro tip, like a golden rule, that you have to follow for both of these, and it will absolutely make or break your results. So you're going to want to listen up. Just think about it for a second. What's the number one mistake you see people making in the gym when they're training arms? I can pretty much guarantee it all comes down to this one little detail.
This is it. You have got to keep your elbows locked in position. Seriously, picture them glued in place or like they're on a fixed track. The second your elbows start flaring out to the sides, you're taking all the work off your triceps and putting it on your shoulders and chest. And that just defeats the whole purpose.
Look, here's the bottom line. Your upper arm, it shouldn't move. At all. The only thing that should be moving is your forearm, just bending and straightening at the elbow. That's it. That's the secret to getting pure, focused isolation on your triceps. And that's pretty much the whole philosophy right there. So let's wrap this all up into a super simple, actionable plan you can take with you right to the gym. I just want you to remember one number, 2. That's it. This isn't about complexity or doing a dozen different fancy exercises. It is all about absolutely mastering 2 key movements with perfect form. That's all you need to get some incredible growth. So here it is, your entire protocol, ready to go. Number 1, the press. That's your close grip bench, 3 sets of 10 to 12. Number 2, the extension. The overhead dumbbell extension, 3 sets of 12 to 15. And the whole time, what's the one rule you have to obey? Keep your elbows fixed. Look, the plan itself is super simple, but putting it into action with focus and discipline, that's what really matters. So the only question left is, are you ready to bring that kind of laser focus to your next workout? Because real results aren't found in making things more complicated. They're found in doing the simple things perfectly.
All right, let's cut right through all the noise. Today, we're focusing on a super simple 2-move plan that's going to build you some seriously powerful triceps. You can forget all those complicated routines. If you want a straight shot to stronger, more defined arms, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get to it. So let me just ask you straight up. Are you ready to stop messing around and actually build arms that make a statement? Because your triceps make up something like 2/3 of your upper arm mass. Focusing on them is, without a doubt, the fastest way to get the kind of results you're looking for. So, we're going to approach this like a builder's guide. We've got 2 essential tools for you. Each one is designed for a very specific job, and when you put them together, they construct some seriously powerful triceps. First up, let's grab tool number 1, the cable pushdown. This is our precision tool. Think of it like a chisel. It's designed to sculpt and define the muscle, giving you that classic, sharp look. And that first exercise is, of course, the Triceps Pushdown. You've seen it a million times on the cable machine for a reason. It's just a fantastic isolation movement that puts all the tension right where we want it, squarely on the triceps. So here's the game plan for this move. You're going to do 4 sets, and you're aiming for a rep range of 12 to 15. Now, this higher rep range is absolutely key for hypertrophy, that's muscle growth, because it floods the triceps with blood and really helps carve out that incredible detail. But why this move specifically? Well, it is absolutely brilliant for developing what's called the outer sweep of the tricep. We're talking about the long head of the muscle. That part on the outside of your arm that creates that awesome horseshoe shape when you flex, that's what gives your arm that powerful 3-dimensional pop. All right, so we've covered the definition. It's time for our second tool, the diamond push-up. If the pushdown was for sculpting, think of this move as laying the foundation. This is for building the raw mass and the brute strength underneath it all. Yep, our second core exercise is the diamond push-up. This is an incredibly powerful bodyweight movement. You need 0 equipment, but it delivers just maximum impact by putting this intense, focused emphasis right on the triceps. Now, the instructions here are simple, but man, are they tough. 3 sets taken to failure. And to failure means exactly what it sounds like. You pump out as many reps as you possibly can with good form, right up until you physically cannot complete another one. That's the zone where you challenge the muscle to really grow.
You know, the real magic of this exercise is its target. That diamond hand position, it shifts the entire load to just hammer the lateral head of the triceps. And that's the part of the muscle that adds real width and thickness to your arm, giving it that powerful, dense look.
But look, just having the right tools is only half the job, right? Using them correctly, that's what truly unlocks the results. So let's talk for a second about perfecting your form, especially on that pushdown, to make sure every single rep is actually doing its job. Okay, this right here is absolutely critical. During those pushdowns, it's so tempting to use your body weight to swing the weight down. You have to fight that urge. By keeping your elbows literally pinned to your sides, you force the triceps to do 100% of the work. This strict form isolates the muscle, it stops your shoulders or back from cheating, and that's what triggers real growth.
Okay, we've got our 2 tools. We have the master key to proper form. Let's put this whole thing together into one complete blueprint that you can take to the gym today.
And here it is, the complete plan. It's so simple. You're going to start with triceps pushdowns to really isolate and define. That's 4 sets of 12 to 15 reps. Then you finish strong with diamond push-ups to build that mass and strength, going for 3 sets all the way to failure. That's it. That's the whole workout. Simple, direct, and just incredibly effective.
So there you have it, a 2-part builder's guide to stronger, more impressive triceps. The plan is all laid out for you, the tools are right here in your hands, so I guess the only question left is, what are you going to build with them? Thanks for joining me.
All right, let's talk triceps. You know, if you feel like your progress has kind of hit a wall, it might not be about how hard you're working, but where you're putting your focus. We're going to go way past the basic lifts today and really dig into the small, crucial details that can spark some serious growth. So yeah, let's get into it. So here's a question for you. When you're hitting your triceps, are you really working the entire muscle? You might be surprised. There's a pretty good chance you're missing a key piece of the puzzle. You know, the one thing that could be holding back your overall development. And look, this is super common. It turns out that a lot of the standard exercises, even when you do them with perfect form, just don't fully stimulate one specific part of the tricep. So today, we're going to fix that. We're going to dial in on that exact spot. Okay, first up, the forgotten triceps head. Because to get the best results, you've got to know your target, right? We're going to zero in on the part of the tricep that honestly gets left behind way too often. So say hello to the medial head. It's kind of tucked away under the long and lateral heads, the ones that usually get all the glory. But here's the thing. Developing this medial head is absolutely key if you want that full, dense look. And it's a huge factor in your raw pressing strength. So the big question is, how do we hit it? Well, our first technique uses a really simple grip change on a classic move to put the focus squarely on that medial head. We are talking about the reverse grip pushdown. It's so simple. By just taking an underhand grip, you put your forearm in a position that basically forces the medial head to do more of the work. It shifts the emphasis right onto our target muscle. Now, the key here isn't just the numbers, it's the why behind them. We're not just moving weight. This specific rep range is perfect for building that mind-muscle connection. This isn't about ego lifting. It's about using a weight you can control to really feel that smaller muscle head working and force it to grow. Yep, 12 to 15 reps. That's your sweet spot. Staying right in that zone makes sure the medial head is doing the heavy lifting, not momentum or other muscles jumping in to help. Okay, let's move on to our second technique. This one builds on that same idea of intentional, super focused work. And this one is all about the squeeze. The dumbbell kickback. I know what some of you might be thinking. It kind of gets a bad rap as a lighter exercise. But trust me, when you do this with absolute precision, it becomes one of the most powerful tools you have for building your triceps. Seriously. So the volume is the same, but the goal here is all about execution. The real work, the real magic happens right at the top of the movement. Your focus shouldn't just be lifting the dumbbell, it should be on that perfect, intense squeeze at the top of every single rep. Remember, it's always quality over quantity. 3 high-quality sets. That's it. When every single rep is done with this much focus, that's all it takes. But wait, there's one little detail that separates an okay kickback from a phenomenal one. This is the tip that really unlocks the true potential of this exercise. This is where the real growth happens. So what is that secret? It's just a tiny adjustment in your timing, but it makes a massive, massive difference in how much that muscle gets activated. And there it is. Pause at the top for a full 1 to 2 seconds. You have to fight that urge to just let the weight drop. You extend back, you squeeze that tricep as hard as you possibly can, and you hold it there under maximum tension. That moment, that's what triggers growth. And this just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? On the left, you've got what we see all the time in the gym, just swinging the weight, using momentum, rushing through it. But on the right, that's where the progress is. Squeezing the muscle, intentional contraction, and that critical 1 to 2 second pause at the top. So the real takeaway here goes beyond just triceps. It's about finding those small details in your technique and absolutely perfecting them. It could be a pause, a grip change, or just a harder squeeze. So ask yourself, what's one tiny detail you can focus on to completely transform an exercise in your next workout? Focus on that, and I promise you'll see the difference. All right, let's talk about building better arms. We're going to break down a routine that's super simple, but trust me, incredibly powerful. If you feel like you've been putting in the work, but your arms just aren't showing it, well, we're about to figure out exactly why. I mean, who doesn't want that, right? Fuller, stronger, more defined arms. But man, sometimes getting there can feel ridiculously complicated. The good news is the routine we're dissecting today promises to hit all 3 of those goals by working smarter, not just harder. And this is the big secret, right here. It's not about grinding out more and more reps until you can't feel your arms. Nope. The magic is in the design. It's about how it strategically hits the entire muscle. And that's what gets you that balanced, complete look. It's proof that being precise is way better than just doing a ton of volume. Okay, so let's dive into the why behind this whole thing. Because once you get the thinking behind this method, the exercises themselves are going to make so much more sense, and they'll be way, way more effective. 3. Remember that number. It is the key to everything we're talking about today. See, your tricep isn't just one big muscle. It actually has 3 different parts, or heads. And if you want that full, well-developed look, you can't just train 1 or 2 of them. You gotta hit all 3. That's the secret. And get this, check out the math here. 2/3. Think about that for a second. So many of us are obsessed with our biceps when we think bigger arms, but the triceps literally make up most of your arm size. So if you're serious about getting fuller arms, focusing on your triceps isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely essential. Okay, so the theory makes sense, right? But what does this look like in the real world? How do we actually do it? Well, this next part is all about the how. We're going to break down the exact workout that hits all 3 of those angles we've been talking about. First things first, this routine uses a superset. Now, if you've never heard that term, all it means is doing 2 exercises, one right after the other, with basically no rest. Why do that? It's all about being efficient and cranking up the intensity. You keep the muscle working the whole time and get an amazing workout in way less time. So here's the combo, and this is where the magic happens. You start with tricep pushdowns. This is going to nail the parts of the tricep on the side of your arm. But then, right away, you switch to overhead extensions. And listen, this part is crucial. That overhead position, it specifically targets the long head of the tricep. That's the biggest part, the one that gives you real mass. You do them back to back, that's 1 round. You do 2 total rounds. And that's it. Simple, targeted, and complete. Now you've done the hard work. But whatever you do not skip this last part. Seriously. After the supersets, there's one final step. And it's not just some optional cooldown. It's a key piece of the puzzle for helping you recover and grow. 30 seconds. That's all it takes for each arm. It's the perfect amount of time to get a good stretch, release that tension, and tell your muscles it's time to start recovering, all without overdoing it on a tired muscle. And of course, you gotta keep things balanced. You worked both arms, so you need to stretch both arms. Just bring one arm up and over, gently pull for 30 seconds on the left, and then switch and do 30 seconds on the right. Simple as that. All right, let's bring it all home. Let's put all the pieces together and look at why this super simple routine is so dang effective. It all comes down to the logic. And boom, here it is in a nutshell. The superset, that's your strategic attack on all 3 parts of the tricep to get that full 3D look. And the stretch, that's not an afterthought, it's the finisher. The thing that tells your muscles, okay, time to recover and grow. See, every single part has a job to do. So what's the payoff for all this smart work? Well, you're not just getting bigger or just getting stronger. Because you're hitting the entire muscle in a balanced way, you get the whole package. Arms that are fuller, arms that are genuinely stronger, and arms that have that awesome, defined look. And this right here really says it all. This is the core message. You train all 3 angles of your triceps, and the result is arms that look fuller, stronger, and more defined. It's the whole formula, right there in one simple sentence. So there you have it. The logic is solid, the workout is quick, and the promised results are exactly what we're all after. The only real question left is, are you ready to try out the